Remember this scene? Wasn't this where he got baptized? Take a moment to breathe. Do it again, but try to grasp what's going on in this world. Can you feel everyone's heart pounding? We all have hopes and dreams. Don't you think all of them have value? If yes, without any regard to religion or the past, does everyone have the right to be saved? Look at the old man. He has a library worth of memories. Shouldn't he be saved? Observe the young girl. She has yet to go through life. Isn't that enough to be saved? Let me ask you, do we have the right to be saved? This is Simply Bible, and we are gonna answer those questions. Let's first define salvation. Salvation is God's deliverance from harm. One example is from the first half of the book of Exodus. It was a magnificent scene where God delivered the Israelites from Egypt and marked Israel's salvation by drowning their captors in the sea. The most anticipated one is the reassurance of your salvation from God's judgment. Yeah, that's a good example. No, there is an example just after the deliverance of the Israelites from Egypt. They disobeyed God, and because of that, He forbade them from the promised land. There are two paths to salvation: salvation by works and salvation by grace. The former means gaining salvation by doing acts of good, while the latter means gaining salvation as a gift we do not deserve. What path were you taking? That's quite common. But I want you to reconsider your viewpoint. I'll let you be the judge. The idea that doing good influences your salvation is not uncommon in pop culture. We often picture a white paradise, a fiery damnation, and your works being the judge of your fate. However, this is what's considered a heresy. Please bear with me, this is pretty controversial. The heresy of good works has been brewing up in our minds because of the false teachings in the church. We forgot what is taught in the Bible because it is pretty clear that the New Testament teaches a salvation of faith that is proven with works. In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. James 2:17. So it means that salvation is not by works, but by grace. If works are the basis for salvation, then Jesus wouldn't have to die on the cross. No, there's more to that. To accept that grace, this gift of salvation we do not deserve, is to trust Him wholeheartedly. Faith. It's like being offered a present and receiving it with faith. Fate is the development of events beyond a person's control. It is neither a friend nor a foe. It is a force of nature. A second ago, a person had to die. It was all a matter of fate. At the same time, a new life begins. It was all a matter of fate. But what does fate have to do with salvation? Suppose a man hits a person in the face and accidentally kills him. You can say he deserves a severe punishment like life in prison or even a death sentence. But just across the bar, a woman hits someone with the same force that was enough to kill the person mentioned earlier. But in this case, the person survives, and so the woman is punished for battery, which is not as severe as death row. Yeah, this is what's called moral luck. Both offenders had the same intention of inflicting pain, yet one is more blameworthy than the other. What I mean is that this luck happens when fate affects how much praise or blame someone gets. If this is true, fate can also affect your salvation. What got you baptized? If that crusade was never there, you wouldn't have gotten baptized, right? You were lucky. There are millions of people out there who have never heard of God, probably because of being somewhere remote or in a non-Christian country. I don't know about you, but does God really give people choice? When it comes to morality, if there's no free will, there won't be any possibility for love. If we don't have the choice to be saved, and considering the people destined to be damned because of their lack of knowledge of God, then God doesn't care about us? That's right. It is mentioned in Exodus that God hardened the heart of the Pharaoh to demonstrate his wonders. But I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and though I multiply my signs and wonders in Egypt, he will not listen to you. Then I will lay my hand on Egypt, and with mighty acts of judgment, I will bring out my divisions, my people, the Israelites. Exodus 7:3-4. He even told it to Moses, and Moses doesn't question his intentions. But what's going on in his head? Doesn't it feel unjust for God to punish Pharaoh for something he had no control over, just so that he could judge Egypt with additional plagues? Perhaps praise and blame are an illusion. If we don't have free will, true love doesn't really exist. Is God really good? Is there even a point in living? This faith that we have for God doesn't really matter. It's all a fabrication. This is no gift of grace. It's predestination. Life has already been predestined. The moment I was born, I didn't give consent to be born. Why was I born into this cruel world? Was I already predestined with salvation or damnation? You are either born in a conservative Christian town or in an island far from a society where you aren't gifted with the knowledge of God. This is injustice because the people are not given the ability to participate in this little game. I just feel bad for those millions of people who cannot choose their fate. It's all a matter of fate, not faith. Some people will be lost just because of the fate they were destined to have. Not only that, but also the supernatural intervention, just like in the case of Pharaoh's heart. What if God never intervened with his heart? Wouldn't he be saved? Remember Paul? He was given the truth when he didn't know Jesus. What about the billions of people with different fates, God? Will you just let all these hopes and dreams burn in the fires of hell? What about me? Was my faith real, Lord? Or was it all a matter of fate? No, I must keep this faith burning. Remember Egypt? They've done horrendous things to the Israelites. For hundreds of years, the Egyptians oppressed them, mistreated them, and even murdered them. Suffering was like a feature of the cycle of life in Egypt that not only made them survive, but thrive. It is only right that God sends plagues that parallel their wickedness and overcome their gods. The water turning into blood for their bloodshed, frogs for the insecurity brought by the Egyptians, lice and flies follow. Livestock pestilence for denying Israel's freedom, boils for their physical abuse, hail for their oppression, locusts for the ruthless unnecessary labor, darkness for the distressing for the Israelites, and the killing of the firstborn children for the killing of the firstborn of the Israelites. He was sort of already on the path of hardening every time he was warned of a greater judgment. Therefore, if God just let him go, there would be injustice for that injustice that Pharaoh brought upon the Israelites. The hardening of hearts is a punishment. I say it was just for God to do this. Remember Paul? Forget what I said about him. He also didn't know the truth because of the fate he ended up with. And God, being the gracious Father he is, grants Paul a chance to be saved. Keep hoping Keep dreaming, keep burning that faith, because God's divine judgment is based on the light you received. For all who have sinned without the law will also perish without the law, and all who have sinned under the law will be judged by the law. Romans 2:12. Ought implies can. This is an ethical formula that states that if an agent is morally bound to an action, then it must mean that they are also able to perform it. Those who do not know the law are judged based on their morality and good works, while those who are more aware of the law are judged with the light they receive. Some way or another, everyone will be given a slice of the pie, yet no one will be excluded from the judgment. God is just and loving, and He cares for us, yet despite adopting us as His children and giving us this hope, these dreams, we fail Him over and over and over again. Are you sinless? But because of His great love for us, He took on the path of perfection that we couldn't take. And so, we do not need to be perfect. The least we can do and ought to do is to humbly walk in His perfection. Because of His love for us, because of the pain He had to suffer, because of His dying on the cross for me that I do not deserve, because of everything He has done for me, every aspect of my life has meaning. Yes, the old man with a library worth of memories should be saved. Yes, the young girl who has yet to go through life is enough to be saved. Let me tell you, we do have the right to be saved. And it is not a matter of fate. It is a matter of faith. This is Simply Bible.